Comes to the much debated special intensive revision exercise. Just yesterday, the electoral roll revision in Bihar weeded out 52 lakh ineligible voters, but the EC assures that all eligible electors are included in the draft roll to be published on August 1. The opposition is up in arms relentlessly. It claims the names have been deleted from rolls through fraudulent means. They say that we have come from voters choosing a government to the government choosing its voters. The ripples were felt past Patna to the national capital, as well as the SIR showdown continued to cast a shadow on parliament proceedings. In the national capital, Rahul Gandhi once again repeated the charge of voter fraud on the ECI. The chief electoral officer in Maharashtra fact-checked the claims right away. Meanwhile, the poll body has also written to the Mamata government in Bengal seeking functional independence and administrative strengthening of the office of Chief Electoral Officer. What began with crying foul over Maharashtra result has now spread to other opposition ruled states. Is the systemic targeting of Election Commission deliberate and only political ahead of various state elections? We'll take that and more to our guest joining us in just a bit. But let me first break down the latest numbers that we've gathered via the Election Commission. They are actually giving out weekly numbers of the SIR exercise that is ongoing on ground. So out of the 7.89 crore electors, 7.16 crore have already returned their forms. 7.13 crore forms have been digitized. And as of June 24, 2025, only 21 lakh 35,000 are yet to submit their forms. The numbers are quite positive. It seems on ground there are no great issues as far as people being left behind of this exercise is concerned. But 52 lakh names have also been weeded out of the rolls. 18 lakh are reported dead. 26 lakh voters have apparently shifted to different constituencies. We're also being told that 7 lakh are enrolled in two places, so they have also found being struck out. A little over 11,000 voters only have not been traced at their given residences as of June 24, 2025. So even when you look at these numbers, it doesn't look like there is any large-scale marginalization or exclusion taking place. Now, this is what happened in Bihar, but let me also tell you what's unfolding in Maharashtra. Every 8 months, even 8 months after the drubbing, Congress continues to cast doubts over the entire election results. They have obviously done so, mounting an attack of voter fraud charge. Today, the Chief Electoral Officer of the state issued a statement snubbing these claims primarily from the Congress party. So the Chief Electoral Officer of Maharashtra released a statement saying that as informed by the Election Commission already, electoral rolls are shared with all recognized political parties. So was the case before Maharashtra elections when copies of draft and electoral rolls were provided to representatives of all parties, including the INC. Between the draft and the final publication, 19,27,000 objections were received. As per law, appeal can be filed against wrongful additions or deletions, but only 89 appeals were received. So what are we to make of this? That people were by and large okay, that even political parties really signed off on the electoral roll. So what sense does it make to now raise hue and cry over it? A different battle is playing out in West Bengal though. Remember, it's a state where local elections, even state elections, have often faced scrutiny that they are not held in a free and fair manner. Now, the Election Commission has written a letter to the Chief Secretary of Bengal seeking functional independence of Chief Electoral Officer of the state. The letter mentioned that while IAS officer Manoj Kumar Agarwal has been appointed as CEO and made ex officio additional Chief Secretary, Home and Hill Affairs Election Department, the Commission observed that the CEO's office lacks any financial or administrative autonomy, functions with limited financial powers and is treated as a subordinate branch under the Home and Hill Affairs Department, despite the CEO holding an ACS rank. The Election Commission issued directives to the state asking it to create a separate election department delinked from other departments with a dedicated budget to ensure full autonomy for effective and impartial election management. The poll body further added that adequate financial powers must be given to the CEO and the vacant posts in the department must be filled up at the earliest. Now just imagine, if this is a charge that the election body was making in any other state ruled by any other party. But why is it that Bengal escapes scrutiny when it comes to how the administration is functioning? But we focus also on Bihar, with this exercise clearly going on smoothly on ground. Is the opposition to the SIR exercise basically political? And is it really going to help the political parties on ground? That's coming up with our guests.
इस पूरे प्रोसेस पे ही हम लोग जो है सवाल उठा रहे हैं कि आप के जो BLOs हैं वो तो खुद ही साइन करके खुद ही अपलोड कर रहे हैं पूरे प्रोसेस का, तो पारदर्शिता तो पूरे प्रोसेस में ही फॉलो नहीं की गई है। वोटर सरकार चुनती थी, अब सरकार वोटर्स को चुनती है।
2 ही दिन और 3 ही दिन है, इसके बाद तो चुनाव होने वाला है। तो चुनाव होगा तो पूरे देश के लोग सोचेंगे कि क्या करना है, और हम लोगों ने कितना काम शुरू से किया है।
सिर्फ 52 लाख की बात नहीं है, सिर्फ बिहार की बात नहीं है। महाराष्ट्र में इन्होंने चीटिंग की, कर्नाटक में हमने भयंकर चोरी पकड़ी है। मैं ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट में आपको दिखाऊंगा, इलेक्शन कमीशन को दिखाऊंगा।
चुनाव आयोग ने इस प्रक्रिया का इस्तेमाल किया है जहां पे एक इंटेंसिव रिव्यू किया जा रहा है, जिसके माध्यम से इस बात को सुनिश्चित किया जाए कि जो वोटर है, जो अधिकृत व्यक्ति है, सिर्फ वही मतदान का इस्तेमाल करे। हकीकत ये है, विपक्ष जानता है कि भैया चुनाव वो बिहार में जीतेंगे है नहीं, बंगाल में भी इन लोग के हालात ठीक नहीं है। तो पहले EVM पे ठीकरा फोड़ा जाता था, अब वोटर लिस्ट को एक बहाना बनाया जा रहा है।
Let's go across to our guest joining us, Radhika Khera from the BJP, Parimal Kumar, spokesperson of the JDU with us, Pooja Tripathi from the Congress Party, Ravi Shankar Ravi of the RJD, and Sumit Chandar, lawyer in Supreme Court, all joining us. I do thank you for your time. Pooja Tripathi, I do begin with you. You know, all of these allegations that Rahul Gandhi made today, for example, in respect to Maharashtra, he says, we found large-scale rigging. He's talked about some other states today, and I will give all proof in black and white. But when the EC invited him to come and meet him and actually discuss this issue, he didn't go.
So we actually sent a representative of our leaders to the Election Commission. We have been asking from Election Commission, you know, data in this digital machine readable format. Election Commission says that you can download it from website if we combine it from 2019 to 2024 Lok Sabha election, every election, if we download it, it would come to around somewhere around 1.25 crore pages. And when Election Commission is not providing us with data, it says that political parties do get the booth-wise the list of people who have voted. So as soon as elections is completed, as far as elections are completed, these lists, that is their booth ages, they usually get torn or abandoned, or you know, they're damaged. So we are asking them a simple simple request since Feb 2025 that give us data in the form of.
So if you haven't had, one second, if you haven't had data so far, how have you found fraudulent voters?
So we have found that, you know, let's talk about the Maharashtra CM's constituency. They have been surged in just 8% of surge in just 5 months. That amounts to, and various booths, various complaints. There have been 20
No, Election Commission has responded to all of those. They have said that 8%.
Election Commission has not responded.
They have responded. They have responded to all of these particular cases that were raised by the Congress Party. 8% voter addition is not found to be extraordinary. It's not found to be out of ordinary. They have also talked about the other 50K plus voters added in any constituency. They've said that the average is much less than that. And on many of those seats, the Congress won. So I'm not understanding, if you don't have the basic data or the source data, then you couldn't have identified all of these things. And if you have data and you have cases, then you need to go to the EC and present it.
We are going to the EC. The senior EC officials are not ready to meet the Congress representatives, and that's why we are saying we asked them for the video recordings of the polling booths. They said that overnight they came out with a judgment that changed the course, that video recordings could not be shared. Why can't in a functioning democracy, in a democracy where we can't have the machine readable data, where we can't have the video of the polling booths, and that's what we are
Okay,
demanding from
before I
Election
open this up to our other guests, Pooja, what the Election Commission officer is saying in Maharashtra today is that all political parties get draft rolls plus the final electoral rolls. They sign off on it, and they barely received 89 appeals. Now you can imagine the strength of the electorate in Maharashtra, only 89 appeals. What is the EC supposed to do when they give it to you, but you don't raise objections at the right time?
That's what I'm saying. We agree that they give it to our booth agents, but
Yes.
as soon as the elections are completed, there's a whole day process of elections. These lists they get torn or damaged, so we are
No,
asking
no,
them
but you're supposed to
simple-
raise objections before the elections. These draft rolls are shared so that people can raise objections before polling.
So that's what we are saying, that the data that's been shared with our booth agents, they get abandoned on. We are asking the election commission. Election commission is there.
I
to
don't
also
understand.
provide-
If your booth agents don't do their due diligence, why are you blaming the EC?
No, we have credible proof that there has been 1 crore plus voters that have been added in Maharashtra in just 5 months. We saw how Lok Sabha elections
Array,
turned
the
out.
election commission has said it's 41 lakh voters who have been added.
So that's why we are asking, give us the data. You are claiming something, we are claiming something, give us the data. And why is
Okay, the election commission says we shared this data with you. I'm not sure if there is possibility in the system where 1 crore were added, but actually on record only 41 lakh were added. We can run those numbers. I've debated this ad nauseum. I've looked into each and every charge of the Congress party vis-a-vis the Maharashtra rules. EC has responded. I'm not even going by what BJP has said in response. EC has responded and they've invited Rahul Gandhi to come and say, okay, you tell us what is the issue. At that time, he was not in the country, I think, and therefore was not available. But let me go across to Radhika. Radhika, the issue with the SIR, for example, is the opposition says that in a state like Bihar, this could lead to large-scale marginalization. Why can't the EC be more accommodative of the concerns, let's say, that all political parties have, barring maybe you and JDU?
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Good evening to all. Before I get to SIR, let's just reply to the Maharashtra facts that the Congress spokesperson here spoke about. She said that there were people added. Well, ma'am, there was no formal complaint which was launched by the Congress during the draft voter roll phase. It is when objections are to be raised. You were missing in action then. Then you say that we asked for video footage and the rules were changed overnight. Well, again, ma'am, you people were sleeping because you asked for it in 2025. Well, the rule was changed on December 21st and 22nd when the Union Law Ministry, acting on a recommendation by the Election Commission, officially amended Rule 93(2)A, Conduct of Election Rules 1961. The change specifically added the phrase as specified in these rules, thereby excluding CCTV, webcasting and video footage of polling booths from being considered public election papers. Now, this amendment was, Shivani, widely reported in media outlets, newspapers, especially the Hindu, which is read by the Gandhi family. And Mrs. Gandhi, Madam Sonia Gandhi ji is very fond of reading the Hindu. It was a front page story over there. All channels also reported this. Now, if you are not following the news, it is not our fault. Now, you also picked up one issue, Shivani, where you said booth agents of the Congress are not doing due diligence. Well, actually, they don't have booth agents. The fact that they don't have cadre, because Congress is not a cadre-based party, and they don't have booth agents available, which is why this problem arises. And they're saying that we are not ready to beat them. We have been again, and the Election Commission has again and again been calling Rahul Gandhi. But Rahul Gandhi and the Congress refused to go to the Election Commission. So they are not only wanting to go. Now, having said that, let's come back to Bihar.
Yes, yeah, yes.
The opposition is spelling alarm over Bihar's intensive revision, SIR. Now, let me set the record straight with some facts. 95.92% of Bihar's 7.9 crore voters have already turned in their forms. That's about 7.5 crore responsible citizens. A total of 52.3 lakh entries, that's 6.6 were flagged as ineligible, 18 lakh dead, 26 lakh shifted away, 7 lakh duplicate awards, and records and 11,000 could not be traced, which leaves the Election Commission with a manageable 4%, that is 32.23 lakhs, who haven't submitted their forms yet. And the officials are already making multiple house visits to ensure that that is also completed. So if 95.92% of voters are already on board, who is actually upset? Now, Rahul Gandhi ji is accusing the Election Commission of being a vote theft wing for the Bharatiya Janata Party, claiming form filling without voter consent. But these numbers, which you also showed, and I just made them recall them, are actually showing, are telling the truth that SIR is cleansing the rolls and not disenfranchising Bihar's voters. The real worry for those who are crying foul is not legitimate voters, but the illegitimate voters on behind
But illegitimate voters, we haven't heard on illegitimate voters till now. Actually,
but
the
that
main,
is 18
the
lakh
main
people
thing
have
is,
died. Exactly.
no, the
18 lakh
main
people
thing
have
is that
died.
we will wait to see out of these forms that have been returned and digitized, out of the, let's say, the usual exercise that is
Shivani,
carried out, how many will not find themselves in the roll released on August 1 who were earlier there on the rolls and are still
Absolutely.
alive and still in Bihar? That is what we are still to know.
52.3 lakh entries have been found ineligible that were taking place in the voter list. Now, if people have died,
Those
people have shifted.
those are on very usual grounds. If in Bihar the exercise
but
has
you
been
know,
mounted,
but
one second, if in
Shivani,
Bihar the exercise has been mounted because illegitimate voters have been found, illegal migrants have been found, non-citizens have been found, that data is not with us yet. That we'll know when the draft roll is published.
26 lakh have shifted away, 7 lakh duplicate, 11,000 could not be traced.
Yeah.
And do you know, since this is just 52.3 lakh entries, do you know the amount of total votes that the Congress got in the recent Lok Sabha elections? About 30 to 35 lakhs. So the amount of voter entries which are ineligible is actually more than the amount of vote that the Congress got.
But these are not illegal citizens. Some of them were on the rolls and they're dead now.
Can I, I'm not, if 18 lakh people have deceased, and we have to also check if their votes have been cast, because we know that Bihar has been witness to booth capturing under the Lalu Prasad Yadav and
I think we're confusing two different issues. As far as deceased...
No, they're all together.
They're all together.
I don't understand if all these people are being cleared, and right now they're fighting over the 52.3 lakh entries.
Yes. No, so that's a fair question.
They have a problem with people who have died, with people who have shifted,
take that to Ravi Shankar Ravi of the RJD. Let me take that to Ravi Shankar Ravi of the RJD, that these 52 lakhs, Tejashwi Yadav and others are already creating a brouhaha that, you know, you've already reduced the electoral roll by 52 lakhs. But if they have been found to be either deceased or having moved away or registered their vote somewhere else, they can't be allowed to be on that voter list. No, this is routine exercise. This is not even special intensive review. This is basic review at this stage.
This is what we are saying, Shivani. I want to start with a lighter note. These 52 lakh people have been deleted on the ground that they are no more.
Some of them are not no more. Some of them have shifted and some of them are found to have duplicate entries.
Fine. So those who are no more, did the Election Commission ask for some kind of document or death certificate as they are asking from the people
yes, of
who are
course,
alive?
the Election Commission must have done their due diligence.
Now.
Okay. Let him finish. Ravi Shankar Ravi, please. Yes.
Yeah. No, I said I want to start from a lighter note. When you are asking a person who is alive, who was born, to produce some kind of a document that he is alive and he was born in Bihar, then on what ground you are counting the deceased? So, as you said, it is a routine exercise. There is nothing special about it. There is nothing intensive about it. Before every election, summary revision takes place, and addition and deletion of the voters all through the year. This can also happen.
Yes.
So what is special about it?
Special will come. Special will come when they will say that so many weren't able to produce their citizenship papers. That will come.
Now, the documents that are being sought by the Election Commission, they are difficult documents, and even some of them cannot be the ground, cannot be the reason. I mean, they are not the papers to prove citizenship. A board certificate, caste certificate. Suppose there are Nepalese who have come to Bihar and made their caste certificate. Would they be considered as voters? So there are problems in that also. But now what the election commission is doing, now they are indulged in a face saving exercise through this data. We all know in what ways the forms are being filled. They are being filled without signature. They are being filled by the officers themselves. They are there are no photographs. There is no receiving being given. Apart from this, the in the affidavit submitted in the Supreme Court, the Election Commission has admitted that the listed documents are indicative, not conclusive.
Not exhaustive, yes.
Yes, not exhaustive. So this is what we have been demanding.
So then you're happy, no? Then
No,
let's
it is
not
not
object.
about being happy or being sad. It is about why this farce. When you have to come back to here, why can't on the first instance you have issued this kind of a notification? Why so much of a chaos
But is
and
there
confusion?
chaos?
And now
No,
the
Ravi
people,
Shankar Ravi, the Election Commission is basically suggesting that on ground there are no issues. All the issues of marginalization that you're talking about, they're not there on ground. In fact, they've gone ahead in the affidavit in the Supreme Court to say that, you know, your party agents are helping on ground, but the party MPs are bringing these pleas in the Supreme Court. Can you establish, you have to give verifiable instances that people are being disenfranchised. Where is that proof?
don't you think that there could be some people,
पे नहीं होता ना?
some is a very, in a very conservative way, I am using this word. There could be some people who do not have any document which are listed in the notification.
Okay.
There are landless laborers, there are Dalits who do not have any land. You know that there are migrant laborers. How would they be included?
Okay. No, fair enough. I think that question is fair enough. But as the Election Commission said, that at least let us do the exercise. Then you tell us, okay, these were the lacunas. How can you, pre-decide the exercise cannot take place? This is an exercise mandated for the Election Commission, mandated by the Constitution. The opposition cannot be seen as becoming a roadblock to any necessary citizen verification. This happened during NRC also. Even the bare mention of NRC is being opposed today. We cannot be a country that cannot verify its citizens endlessly. And how long will Biharis remain without documentation? Is nobody going to think about that? Will this be an excuse 20 years later also that Biharis don't have documentation?
Who will give the document? First,
State governments can give many of the documents.
Then ask for it. Now the onus is on the voters to produce document.
Okay.
So
let me go across to our JDU representative
as well. It has never
well.
happened.
Parimal Kumar is also joining us. Parimal Kumar, why is
revision.
it that you are not so concerned about this exercise? You would also have voters who may miss out. You may also have, people who may not be able to produce their documents. If it's really about genuine citizens of Bihar, but you don't seem to have any of those concerns that RJD has. Why?
Actually, you see, Shivani, actually RJD and Congress are afraid of their defeat in the incoming assembly election. Actually, RJD and Congress have no belief and faith in the constitutional norm. What the Election Commission is doing is as per the constitutional norm, and it is exercising power permitted in the constitution, and also particularly you see People's Representation Act 1950, Section 21 makes it mandatory for the Election Commission to conduct SIR prior to Lok Sabha election and that of particularly assembly election. That an election commission is performing its work properly. As far as the question of 52 lakhs voters who are likely to be deleted, RJD spokesperson said they were deleted. They were not deleted. Actually, they are likely to be deleted. Out of 52 lakhs people, 18 lakhs were found dead. 26 lakh migrated permanently from one place to another, and 7.5 almost particularly is the case of duplication, right? And Election Commission furnished this the list of 52 lakh people to BLO and BLA. BLA are the representative of political party. It is in the hand of BLA to identify whether they are dead, they are migrated, or there is the case of duplication. So this is to ensure the transparency in the exercise of Election Commission. Actually,
but you are not worried, Mr. Parimal, are you not worried? One second, are you not worried that there are many people, there could be maybe 1 crore, 2 crore people in Bihar who have no documents to show the ones that have been asked by the EC?
No, no. 1 month. Our election commission has already announced that we will provide it 1 month period to for the claim and particularly such type of objection, right? So if let the election commission perform their duty, prepare the list, right, and then if there is any particular discrepancy, then we will claim now. Why particular? We are not the spokesperson of election commission, but as far as the question of SIR is concerned, it is constitutional responsibility of the election commission and those political parties having no faith in the constitution. Internationally known Pappu Rahul Gandhi carry the constitution in his hand, but he has no knowledge about the constitution. He always works against the spirit of the constitution, and you know that Congress is known for the destruction of constitution. You know.
Okay,
Actually,
let's not go into past
simply
issues. Let's just look at the SIR exercise that we are talking about today. From a legal perspective, I want to bring in Sumit Chandar, who's also joining us. Sumit Chandar, do you think, a ground has been prepared legally to say that, okay, this exercise cannot be carried out properly? That somehow it is too large logistically an exercise to be carried out, and particularly in the 3 months' time that the EC has given itself.
Shivani in 2003 was concluded within 31 days.
I know, but the notification,
so
the process...
Actually, they are habituated to obstruct the constitutional function.
All right,
Actually,
why is that? I'll take that to our Congress representative in just a bit. But Sumit Chandar, what do you think?
Right, so first to understand what this exercise is all about, we need to understand the powers of the Election Commission. That power is given in the Constitution under Article 324, which provides that the Election Commission shall have the control for the preparation of the electoral rolls, for the conduct of the elections. So this entire power vests with the Election Commission. Now, why this power has been given in the Constitution itself? This power in the Constitution has been given to maintain the integrity of the electoral roll itself, which is fundamental.
Parimalji, I'll come back to you. Parimalji, just 1 second. Allow Sumit Chandar to speak. I'll come back to you. Give me 2 minutes, please. Yes.
Okay.
I'm just saying what the Constitution says, so there cannot be a debate on that. Now, under Article 324 of the Constitution, the Election Commission is to maintain the integrity of the electoral rolls. And why is required is to ensure that all the eligible citizens are included, and to ensure that no ineligible citizen is included, to ensure that no ineligible voter is included. So those are the aspects it needs to keep in mind. Now, along with this immense power given under the Constitution to the Election Commission, there is also Representation of People's Act, and Section 21 of the RP Act clearly says that the electoral roll may be again revised by the Election Commission for reasons to be recorded in writing. So Election Commission has to give a reason that why they want to do this exercise of the SIR.
No, but will they be giving a reason for each voter, for example?
Not for each voter, but generally to conduct the exercise.
Yeah.
Now,
no, that ground is clear. But the issue is about the last man or woman in the line. Those individuals, they may not have the agency to kind of challenge the Election Commission if their names are somehow found. I mean, we see even in urban centers. I mean, we're talking about largely a rural electorate. Even in urban centers, people go to the polling booth, they realize their names are not there. There is a level of lack of awareness, but EC's job, the main contention, Sumit Chandar, is that this exercise is putting the onus on the voter to get themselves into the list, while the onus has usually been on the EC to add voters to the list.
Very right. Now, even if it is the onus lies on the voters, they have to provide the documents which has to be verified by the Election Commission. Now, the entire setup is already there. It is the people who have to come, give their ID cards and say that they are the residents here and their name should be included in the voters list, which exercise is already in process.
Right.
Now, if that exercise is not in question, what the question remains is there are some people who may not have the related document, but they have been a resident over the period of years. There is also a provision to appeal against it, say, give those reasons, and with those reasons, again, your name can be included. So provisions are there. It is for the citizens to use those provisions and ensure that their names are shown in the vote.
I've got some recent data. Yes, Radhika ji, I'm coming to you. I want to go across to Pooja first. The recent data from the Election Commission is suggesting that around 56 lakh could be removed. These include 20 lakhs who are dead, 28 lakh who have been found to be missing, 7 lakhs who have been found to have their names at more than at one place, 1 lakh voters' whereabouts are not known. But 98% voters have been verified. Now you tell me, what basis remains to object to this exercise? We still have a week to go. If not a week, then at least 4 days to go before the exercise has to be concluded.
Shivani, just somebody mentioned that in 2003 also this exercise was completed in 31 days. So I have data, I have stats from JM Lindo,
from the Congress spokesman.
Yeah.
Why they are opposing? Actually, you see.
One
On
second, Parimalji, I'll come back. I will come to you. I'll come to you right after press meet. 1 second.
No. When hearing was going on, they not requested the apex court to put a stay on the process.
Yes.
Actually, they are doing drama only.
Okay,
Actually,
1 second.
They are afraid of their defeat. And
Pooja,
Congress is
30
having
seconds to
waited
Pooja, then 30 seconds to
only
Mr.
party
Parimal. Yes,
which has
one at a
started
time.
So when you say this exercise was completed in 31 days, I have stats from JM Lindo, the former election commissioner, who said preparatory work 1 month. Next 3 weeks, they went door to door. Then they were, over the next 6 weeks, they gave a giver for reserve for claims and objections. So the final voter list after the revision took 7 months to complete. And it's not just logistically different. We are talking about Bihar here. The Election Commission data says that only 27% have achieved higher studies. 33% are illiterate. We are talking of Bihar, in which 28 districts out of 38 districts are flood-ridden. 2025, 9.9 lakh
Whether
people
you
are flooded.
will not particularly canvass in the election, in the
documents
flood-ridden
that
area. Why you
Yes,
are
but
not
backwardness
particularly
and poverty
because
cannot.
no,
One
no,
second,
not-
backwardness and poverty
at all.
cannot be
Actually, why-
excuses
no.
to not
No.
rationalize
Actually,
voter lists. Also,
you see-
can I just say that we cannot perpetuate this thinking that because a process cannot be 100% fair, then no process will take place. I don't think that mindset helps anybody. Radhika, I have 30 seconds only.
Let me address the very dangerous.
Radhika, 30 seconds.
Let me address, the very dangerous and misleading argument which was made by the RJD spokesperson that documents like caste certificate or 10th pass certificate do not prove citizenship, and that even a Nepali national could hold one. First of all, this special intensive revision is not a citizenship verification exercise. It's a voter roll purification drive, which has been made clear by the Election Commission multiple times. The Election Commission is not determining who is Indian or not. They have just found out that deceased voters are 18 lakh, permanently shifted names 26 lakh, duplicate entries 7 lakh, untraceable individuals 11,000. Second, the documents that are being submitted are not meant to be proving nationality. They are being used to establish the identity, age, local residency of the person.
Okay.
That's the legal standard for inclusion in the electoral roll.
Yes.
Third, if the RJD believes that Nepali citizens or foreign nationals have managed to get into these documents and enter the voter list, then it's a damning admission of past failures because these entries did not appear overnight.
And that failure
Tejas Yadav
is,
was a deputy chief minister.
No,
He
that
should have
failure
got it
is
cleared.
spread
This
over
has been
all
for
parties
years
because
and
all
never
parties
cleaned up.
have been in power both at the center
Exactly, but
and
today
Bihar
when things are
since
happening-
2003 when the exercise was last conducted, although it has been
But today,
recently
if
only.
a cleaning is happening, why is it troubling them? Why are they defending the
Fair
presence
question,
of ghost
which is
voters?
what we've been
Why are they
asking. Why
resisting
should
a
it
process
bother
that will
anybody
illegitimate
if it's a
means?
cleaning up exercise? And yes, there will be some issues, but that doesn't mean we don't do these exercises. We cannot perpetuate this thing that no, it cannot be 100% fair. I've run out of time. I do thank our guests for joining us. Moving on to the other big story we are tracking, Union Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia today introduced the National Sports Governance Bill 2025 in Lok Sabha, along with the National Anti-Doping Amendment Bill. These bills aim to overhaul the governance of sports bodies in India and strengthen anti-doping measures, aligning with global standards and India's ambitions to host the 2036 Olympics. Although BCCI does not receive government funding, is registered under the Tamil Nadu Societies Registration Act, government says it will still fall under the purview of the new governance framework. BCCI is yet to react to this. But with this new sports governance bill, will this bill be a new beginning? Will this actually manage to change the sports governance scenario in India for the better? And that all-important question on the BCCI, special guests are joining us. Joining me now is none other than former Olympic medalist and member of the IOA Athletes Commission, Gagan Narang, who knows a thing or two about both being an athlete and also an administrator or running a sport and coaching a sport. Gagan, thanks a lot for speaking to us. the new sports governance bill, it has been a long time coming. A lot of attempts have been made in the past, and finally the bill has been tabled, and everybody's expectation is that it will pass. It will usher in a new era for Indian sports and governance in Indian sports. But from your point of view, do you think Indian administrators, Indian federations, sports bodies are ready to make that leap?
Well, Shivani, purely speaking from an athlete's perspective, and I've been an athlete for 3 decades now, I think it's a fantastic effort from the government side to introduce the sports governance bill, firstly. And secondly, putting forward the athlete's voice favorably is something that is very, very good in this particular bill. And a lot of athletes that I have spoken to are quite in favor of it. I don't see an issue with the federation so much because their apprehensions probably have been addressed in this bill with industry consultations that have happened in the last couple of months. I see that this is a positive sign to make India from a sports watching nation to a sports playing nation.
But in the past we've seen, Gagan, that, there has been this back and forth, but also a resistance on the part of certain administrations to kind of really move into the next era of sports management and sports governance. Why do you think that is in India? Because in India, sports bodies have often become fiefdoms of a few, or of, cliques of different individuals, etc. And it's been very hard to kind of break that system.
Well, I don't completely agree with that. I think a non-performing federation or a unit is a problem. I think there are federations which are doing very, very good work in the sports field. And I think this bill going forward will only strengthen. And I think everybody's realized that India is on the cusp of breaking into that sporting excellence barrier now on the world stage, and we've had so many great, good world level performances that I think more government support, more sponsorships will only come in from the perspective of good governance. And I think a lot of these federations today have adopted good governance frameworks and are working towards having athlete-centric policies in place and working towards the larger goal of athlete betterment and athlete support in the right way.
No, so as an athlete yourself, you're also part of the IO Athletes Commission. What, according to you, were the biggest roadblocks for Indian athletes, and how will this bill take care of that?
See, I think few positives from the perspective of an athlete. I think for the very first time, we as athletes have a seat on the table. I think they have been made, the bill mandates that there is good athlete representation. Secondly, of course, a safe sport is now a right. It's not a favor. So, this will definitely help. Having safe sports policies and federations and ethics committees crucial for protecting women and minor and vulnerable athletes from abuse and so on and so forth. I think what is also very, very important is that the disputes will not derail careers anymore. There have been so many disputes that the athletes have been facing. So the National Sports Tribunal that they mention in this bill is going to be a game changer, where an athlete will get fast, fair and sports-specific dispute resolution. There's also more transparency with federations now coming under RTI. So I think it's a very, very favorable step, and this will only make sponsorships come in. This will make parents feel safe that they can let their athletes get into the sport in a safe environment. It will only encourage to take sport to the next level.
I have to ask you, since I have you on the show, that, all of this is also focused to kind of align Indian sports governance with an eye on the 2036 Olympics bid. Do you think India is ready for that bid? Are we ready? Are we there? I mean, bidding is one thing, being able to host an Olympics, and how much goes into that, and how much goes into not just managing one contingent, which you did last time, but, to host an entire games. It's going to be a mammoth challenge for India. Do you think we are ready for it?
I think we've overcome such challenges not only from sport perspective but as a country in the past, and I'm sure that steps have been taken by the right people in the government and the authorities to put our best foot forward towards getting and achieving our goals, and I'm sure that this will happen very soon.
All right. Anything more that you think is needed when it comes to facilitating greater participation from the Indian public and helping Indian athletes more. We talk about sponsorships a lot, for example, but a lot of it needs to come from the private sector. The government alone cannot do, although the government is doing what it can do through various programs. But what more do you think needs to be done?
No, but like I said, see, the sponsorship will start coming in when the sponsor also believes that there's going to be good governance in the federation. When there's athlete-centric programs, you're building stars, right? So from that perspective, when there's a great environment in a particular federation, it's bound to get more sponsorships because it's more aligned, it's more governed, they have less governance hassles, and they are completely, in favor of performance and in favor of good governance. So it's only a matter of time that federations will start adopting good governance practices even more than what they are right now. And the sponsorships and the credibility will soon follow behind the federation, and the sport will definitely go to a next level. And I'm not talking just about Olympic sport, I'm talking about Asian Games and non-Olympic events as well.
All right. On that note, Gagan Narang, thanks a lot for joining us and sharing your perspective.
Thank you so much, Shivani.
A short while ago, I also spoke to Vidushpat Singhania, sports lawyer, on just how much of this bill will be applicable on the BCCI eventually. That's what everyone is waiting to watch out for. Vidushpat Singhania, noted sports lawyer, is now joining us. Vidushpat, thanks a lot for sharing your thoughts with us on what seems to be a new beginning in sports administration in India. A lot of such attempts have been made in the past, not the first time a sports governance bill is being introduced. But what makes you more hopeful that this time around it's really going to be a new beginning?
I think, Shivani, you captured it well. This has been active for the last 15 years, right from the first draft of the National Sports Code in 2011. Actually, in 1975, when the first proposition of this good governance norms in sports federation were proposed. But effectively, it came the first time in 2011 through those executive orders of the National Sports Code. And then 2011, a committee was formed to make a new bill. Nothing happened. 2013, a committee was formed. Nothing happened. 16, a draft was attempted. Nothing happened. 17, a draft was attempted and submitted to the High Court. Nothing happened. Finally, I see that there is a bill on the sports governance which has been tabled in the Parliament. So that itself is a very, very big achievement, and hopefully it will get passed very soon.
What strikes out for you as far as this bill is concerned? I mean, I was personally very happy to see this National Sports Tribunal, because how much litigation do we see going on vis-a-vis various sports administration and federations, and they seem to be endless. Some of the federations have actually suffered because of court orders where, let's say, international bodies have de-recognized them, etc., etc. We've seen those episodes also play out. So what would you say, first of all, about that sports tribunal?
So I think the object of the bill really captures it well, that it is for effective dispute resolution in sports. And I think that is really where the bill starts from and the objective starts from. As you rightly pointed out, all federations, be it the national, and not only the national, even the state federation, and even going down to districts, they are all in either district court or high court fighting either the election battle, selection battle, or the integrity issues battle. And all of them are there. And that is what is creating this whole pile up that, sometimes the federations can't make decisions. Sometimes they're not able to send teams. Sometimes the decision is taken which the International Federation does not recognize, and then they ban the federation or ad hoc body is appointed. So hopefully things get clear. What happens a lot of times is because courts are really busy in India. And because they are really busy, they're not able to hear the matter on a day-to-day basis, which is what sometimes these sports issues require, that urgent decision. Especially when it pertains to an election which has taken place and the office bearers have to take position in the federation and have to start functioning. Or for that matter, for a sports person, if he or she has to go and participate in a game, which is going to happen in the next week's time, you cannot wait for a decision to come after 1 month on that. So these are very critical issues which need to be understood as well as to be decided quite expeditiously. And what I believe is this setting up the sports tribunal, which is dedicated for these kind of sport disputes, then they will be able to hear this matter day to day. One. Second, what happens is, because this is a specialized forum that is getting created, they will have a lot more experience both on what's happening in sports, international regulations, as well as their own decisions. And I think maybe initially there will be some teething problems, but eventually what will happen is this process of decision making and experienced decision making in sports will take precedence, and we'll have faster decisions. And I think that will be really a good aspect for Indian sports, because I think we have about 64 or 68 sports federation recognized at the national level. And if I were to safely say that 50, plus 50 would be in litigation. So
Yes.
hopefully the federations are lesser litigating and more administering, and we are able to help them with that process.
It's not just election matters, even selection matters often go to court, and sometimes there is very little time to decide on those selection matters for the benefit of both the federation and the athletes concerned. But what else strikes you as a sports lawyer, knowing how many problems Indian sports has seen? What strikes you about this bill?
So, couple of more things. Now, what happens is even for elections, normally there's a question on returning officer, there's a question on the electoral college, whether the electoral college is rightly constituted or not. So, therefore, a couple of things have happened. First, there is a national election panel that has been set up, which comprises of former election officers, and they are a panel. So they've created a panel of these election officers from which the National Federation can come and pick that we want to conduct an election, and these people will then come and conduct the election. So there will be a lot more transparency to the elections because it's an independent body which will be conducting the elections. That is, I think, something which is again going to be very beneficial and will reduce these kind of disputes. Second, what is telling, and again something you would know, is that normal disputes happen. The electoral college is always tried to be manipulated in federations, right? Where two states will come in, and then whoever is supporting a particular member, he will be given a recognition so that the other person loses the votes, and then they'll go and challenge it in court, and the matter will continue. With this kind of sports governance bill, there is a sports board where even affiliate units like state units and district units will also have to register themselves. So once you've registered yourself, any change cannot happen just by an ad hoc manner by a federation boss or by somebody who's powerful in the federation. It will require a proper hearing at the board, at the tribunal, for a person or a body or an affiliate unit to be derecognized before another one can be recognized. So again, there will be a lot of certainty, and disputes will certainly reduce on that basis.
You know, the other big thing which is garnering more headlines is the fact that the BCCI will finally come under the ambit of what is a national sports governance policy. And this also is something which has been a long-standing battle as far as bringing it on par with other national sports federations or national sports bodies, as this new bill calls them. How hopeful are you that this will be a smooth process? Because yes, this is a legislation, this will become law, but the BCCI as an independent society registered under the Societies Act has always said that, you know, we are not on par with any other national sports body.
So I will differentiate. I'll ask my question. If you are asking me how easy will the bill to pass, that's, I think, for the government to answer. But I'm really hopeful the sports minister and this government has majority will be able to pass it. So that I'm really hopeful. Having said that, the Supreme Court has also said in its case regarding BCCI that till the time the government comes out with the regulation, they are functioning in a quasi-regulatory manner. And that is what the scenario is. Having said that, even if BCCI is classified as a National Sport Federation or not, or for that matter, another sports body, there is powers available within this act or bill, and hopefully it's an act soon, to exempt certain bodies from certain stipulations that have been laid down in this particular act. And if the BCCI, if it is incorporated, if it is supposed to be covered, they could make that kind of an application. And then that application needs to be processed by the, I think, the sports board, as well as the tribunal, and I think it can be allowed. So the bill enables that. It's not that they will 100% get covered. Whether they seek that exemption or not is, I think, time will tell.
Well, if the exemption exists, I think they will go for it. But because, you know, as a sports body that doesn't take any funding from the government, although it takes other support from the government, it doesn't take any funding from the government, but uses the India name for the national cricket team. There are certain rules that apply to it. But as far as coming under RTI, we've seen that decision by the CIC has been pending. It's been sub judice. As far as, you know, it's financials being open to public scrutiny. Or, for example, its selection matters to be open to public scrutiny or the scrutiny of this National Sports Board. Do you think that will happen, or will it be just a cursory oversight on BCCI?
The governance bill really does not want to get into the functioning or autonomy of any national sport federation, not BCCI, but any national sport federation. I think the governance bill is just trying to lay down certain standards which everybody has to follow. I don't think they're looking at getting into a selection process or, for that matter, financial, till the time they are filing that. right? Now the issue then
No, but
again the
for
same question.
selection, for example, no,
Yes,
selection, for example, if somebody has a dispute, they're supposed to go to this board or
post
the
tribunal.
tribunal on selection issues. So
That's
will
correct.
BCCI selection also become open to this kind of a tribunal scrutiny? We've never seen that for Indian cricket.
So prima facie, it should become as the bill currently stands. But if the BCCI seeks exemption to that effect and gets an exemption, then probably they will not be. So again, it depends on what currently stands and if they are able to secure an exemption. So that is where
Okay,
we
my
are.
final question, as part of the Olympic Charter, there are, of course, certain requirements for a national sports body. Now, BCCI doesn't exactly function as any other national sports body in India. But because cricket is making a return at the 2028 Olympics, how much more do you think they will have to do to align themselves with the Olympic Charter?
So I don't see the Olympic sport really does not try to get into governance of international federations and the national federations implied. They give their freedom to the international federations to come out with their own regulations for governing their particular sport. They just lay down that you have to be independent, you cannot be politically influenced, and we have a fair play. And I think to that aspect, the BCCI is in compliance. I think the second aspect on governance, it is the international federation, which is the ICC, which will have to determine it. Because, say, for a football example, the FIFA determines what the standards are, and that are sometimes not even uniform across the countries. For example, if you go in the Middle East countries, the federation, the national federation, which would be the FA, may comprise only of clubs. Somewhere it may not comprise of these units. Some countries may not have units because they may not have that kind of a federal structure. So every country's uniqueness has to be considered, and accordingly, the national federation determines what that structure for that particular country is. The international federation just lays down the broad contours that you should have good governance, you should have a proper election, you should have transparency. So those kind of things, which I don't think BCCI is in violation of. They are in compliance with that. Now, as the second aspect of your question, whether they will have to be compliant with having using the national election panel, sports tribunal, or ethics panel, that will again be determined. At this point, upfront, yes. But if they seek an exemption and they get that exemption, no.
Okay, all right. Vidush Prasadh, thanks a lot for speaking to us.
Thank you, Shivani. Thank you.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
16-hour debate on Operation Sindoor has been scheduled for next week in the Parliament. This was announced by the Business Advisory Committee after strong demands from the opposition. But Rahul Gandhi continues to question Prime Minister Modi on his silence, particularly on the mediation that has been claimed as coming from America, as has been made in several claims by the President of the United States.
बहुत बड़े प्रॉब्लम्स हैं जो हम डिस्कस करना चाहते हैं. डिफेंस के प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, डिफेंस इंडस्ट्री के प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. हालात अच्छी नहीं है, पूरा देश जानता है. जो अपने आप को देशभक्त कहते हैं वो भग गए. राइट? प्राइम मिनिस्टर एक स्टेटमेंट नहीं दे पा रहे हैं. ट्रंप ने कितनी बार बोला है? 25 बार बोला है. ट्रंप ने 25 बार बोला है कि मैंने सीज फायर करवाया. ट्रंप कौन होता है सीज फायर कराने का? उसका काम थोड़ी है. मगर प्रधानमंत्री ने एक बार जवाब नहीं दिया. सच्चाई है, छुप नहीं सकते.
Take this across to my colleague Pallavi. Pallavi, finally a 16-hour discussion that has been announced. This is what is coming out of the BAC. But Rahul Gandhi is steadfast in crying foul. This time he's going after the Prime Minister. He is also talking about the several announcements that have come in on part of US President Donald Trump on having made that attempt to mediate between India and Pakistan. Which way do you see this headed, Pallavi?
So during the Operation Sindhu discussion, first in Rajya Sabha on Tuesday for 16 hours and most likely before that in Lok Sabha for around 16 hours itself, I think the focus of the opposition parties will be one. Why is it that constantly the American president keeps on staking claim as far as brokering a ceasefire is concerned, and we want the Prime Minister to respond to it. So far, no clarity coming in from the government whether the Prime Minister will be able to be present there or whether he is actually going to be responding. So that is one point over here. The second point that they are raising is that where are the terrorists? Where are they missing? Why have they not yet been nabbed? This is going to be the frontal attack coming in from the opposition towards the government. The government, of course, has said that it's an ongoing operation. There's a sensitivity matter involved. And it's not the first time really. Every time the government has made it clear that there's no question of the ceasefire being brokered by America. This is something which Pakistan wanted. We gave it to them. In fact, the DGMO called up pre-lunch. We could not take that call. We spoke to them post-lunch, and that is why we conceded to the demands, but they are on a wait and watch. Both the sides clearly will not accept each other's debate, but finally, next week is when you're going to see the discussion take place on post-Operation Sindhu developments.
The fact that it has been decided that this debate is going to happen, it is going to continue through these several hours. By that time, I believe the Prime Minister is also going to get back. Would we see and can we expect the Prime Minister to speak on the floor of the House? And that question, I'd like to take this to Arunima, who's also with us on the broadcast. Arunima, if you could have heard that question.
So as far as the Prime Minister, I beg your pardon, Prime Minister responding to opposition is concerned, that is one demand from the Congress party on which they have been unflinching. So far, the indications from the government is that Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh is going to respond to the debate on Operation Sindhu. That is what, we got an indication when he actually stood up in Lok Sabha also on day one of the monsoon session, and also made that point that I am willing, all government is willing to look at all your demands and discuss everything, let the House function. Prime Minister coming and answering the Congress is demanding, because they say this is the precedent. When 1962 war happened, it was Jawaharlal Nehru who took the House into confidence. Indira Gandhi did the same after 1971 when Bangladesh was created. And Atal Bihari Vajpayee, a Prime Minister who belonged to Bharatiya Janata Party, he too spoke up when Kargil happened. So why should there be a departure from convention is what the Congress is saying. But the government so far, every time there has been a demand that the Prime Minister speaks out, their stance has been that Prime Minister will speak when he has to, but it will not be by using the adjournment motion as a blackmail tool by the opposition. You can't really force the Prime Minister to act on your whims and fancies, because when he speaks up, you do not show him the courtesy of sitting down and listening to everything that he has to say.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much for that.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
16-hour debate on Operation Sindoor has been scheduled for next week in the Parliament. This was announced by the Business Advisory Committee after strong demands from the opposition. But Rahul Gandhi continues to question Prime Minister Modi on his silence, particularly on the mediation that has been claimed as coming from America, as has been made in several claims by the President of the United States.
बहुत बड़े प्रॉब्लम्स हैं जो हम डिस्कस करना चाहते हैं. डिफेंस के प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, डिफेंस इंडस्ट्री के प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, हालात.
Good evening. You're watching The Right Stand with me, Poonam Burde. We will be joined shortly by Anna Narasimhan, who's getting us all the latest from the United Kingdom, where Prime Minister Modi is going to be touching down shortly. And that is the top focus here on The Right Stand. The 4-day visit that the Prime Minister has embarked on, first to the United Kingdom and then to the Maldives. In his departure statement, the Prime Minister expressed confidence of how this visit is going to be boosting India's bilateral and strategic ties with both these countries. Anna Narasimhan, like I said, will be joining us shortly from London. But before that, let me take you through what's on agenda for India, what India stands to gain from this 4-day bilateral visit, this twin-track diplomacy that Prime Minister Modi is undertaking. The focus, of course, as far as the United Kingdom goes, is going to be on trade. The free trade agreement, which has been stuck for several years, was concluded. The negotiations were finalized a couple of months ago this year. That is going to be finalized. The signatures of both Prime Ministers on the dotted line will take place tomorrow during this visit of the Prime Minister. That is going to happen ahead of his visit to the Maldives. As far as the United Kingdom visit is concerned, for the Prime Minister, this is extremely important, and he highlighted that in his departure statement. He spoke about how India and the United Kingdom share a comprehensive strategic partnership. He spoke about his meeting with Prime Minister Keir Starmer and how that will further enhance economic ties between the two countries. The two countries and the two Prime Ministers aim to promote prosperity, growth, especially job creation in both these countries, and that's what the FTA aims to do.